Well, hello everyone, and welcome to our first video of Sewing a Little. Now in today's video, we're going to show you how to make a book bag or a book clutch, and it is this one that we have over here. As you can see, the fabric does match my dress. We made this dress to go in conjunction with the book bag, but we don't have a tutorial of it yet. If you do want a tutorial of my dress, then feel free to let us know down below in the comment section and we'll be glad to do so. So this is the book bag, as you can see. So it's like a little tiny bag for you to carry your book in, and it's very convenient, especially when you're going to go out on the car or if you're traveling in general. It's very easy to carry and very convenient, like I said, because you can also, once you open it, as you can see, it does have a little flap. So once you open it, you have your book, and each of our patterns has special instructions on how to make the project that you want to make. But as you can see, you can also mark your pages here, and everything is well secured with this bag. You just put on your flap once again. You can add a button like we did, or you can choose to apply a magnetic button. That's also an option. But as you can see, it's a very beautiful bag, and if you're looking to getting into sewing, or you're a reader and you want a special bag for your books, then this tutorial is definitely for you. Again, it is very useful to go on a picnic or when you're traveling, and that way we'll have our book in a special carry-on that we made ourselves, and we can customize it however we want. As you can see, we added the letter T since my name is Tanya, but you can definitely add your letter or your initial of your name or a special design. You can add a flower, whichever design that you like. It's very versatile. Now, this is a very easy tutorial if you follow it step by step. So make sure that you follow the instructions that are given in the tutorial. And also you can download the pattern, which is down below in the description box. So once again, you won't have to make the pattern. The pattern, we already do it for you. And you just have to download the pattern and follow the tutorial. Again, make sure that you download the pattern in a PDF format. That is going to be the measurement for our patterns specifically. So do make sure that you download it in that PDF format. All right, let's not ramble anymore and let's get sewing. To make our book clutch or bag, in our case, we are going to use some fabric we have left over. These scraps of fabrics we had here at home. So the amount that we have is enough for us to make our bag. We will start with this piece of fabric, and from this we will be cutting 2 pieces. Again, always guide yourself by the instructions written in the pattern. Always remember to mark the notches indicated in the pattern. We are going to leave an open space of approximately 4 inches to be able to turn it over when we finish sewing. So again, it is very important that you have marked the notches that are indicated in the pattern. Now we will be cutting the pellon. Pellon is an ultra firm, smooth, heavyweight sew-in stabilizer for extra support. It is a fusible interfacing or an ultra lightweight interfacing for light to medium weight fabrics. We will be linking all the products and machinery used in this tutorial down below in the description box. For the pellon or fusible adhesive, we will be subtracting approximately 1 square centimeter. Again, just follow the instructions indicated in the pattern. You will have all these measurements updated once downloaded that will guide you step by step. To cut the pellon or fusible adhesive fabric, you can cut it like so. This is the pattern, as you can see, and you can reduce it 1 centimeter all around, or you can just cut it to 17 inches by 10 3/8. Again, all these measurements and instructions will be indicated in the pattern. Just follow the pattern and our tutorial and you will see that you will have a beautiful outcome for your book bag. In the pellon, we don't have to mark the signs or notches. Now we are going to reduce the centimeter, but this will already be updated in the pattern. It should look like this once cut. Now with the fabric folded over itself, we will cut the flap of the bag where we are going to hang the book. From this we will need 2. For the flap, we also have to mark all the signs indicated in the pattern. Now we are going to use half of the overlap to cut the pellon. And of this piece, we are going to need 2. Again, we are going to be lowering it half a centimeter so that it does not bump into the seam, but you will already have this corrected in the pattern that you are going to download. We are going to be cutting the handles to 2.5 inches by a length of 11 inches. In our case, we are going to use the iron-on adhesive. Iron-on adhesive is used for bonding fabric without extra weight or stiffness. It is a heat-activated, double-sided adhesive for use on fabric. Again, the one that we are using is sewable, so that is a very important detail to keep in mind. On one side, it is a paper material, and on the other side, you glue it directly to the fabric. Then remove the paper and glue the ornament or decoration and then the fabric. For that, we are going to cut a little, and remember to leave a margin if you'd like to be able to work with it. This little piece will be enough for our decoration, which in our case is the letter T. You can look at the pattern that we give you so that you can see the different ideas that you can use as your decoration. For the contrast of the letter, we will be using this floral pattern. We are going to occupy only the bit that we are going to consume of the letter. This way we will have the necessary material for the decoration of the book. For the closing of the book, we are going to need another flap, and from this we are going to be cutting 2 and pellon. For the book, we are going to start with the 2 pieces, the cover and the lining, which in this case we chose to be the same print. We have the pellon with the centimeter lowered all around. We also have the flap. Of this we have 2. And we also have 2 half flaps in pellon. The 2 handles, and this is optional, but in our case we are going to put 1 inch of pellon on the handle. Now we are going to have the closure, and that is going to be set inside. This is the outside part, that is what we are going to be seeing, and this is the pellon reduced to 1 centimeter. And finally, for the detail front of the bag, we are going to have a letter or decoration that you are going to do in contrast or as a combination. A stabilizer that is optional because you can do it with a normal pellon and the detail on paper. This is going to be all for this pattern. And now, let's get sewing! We are going to start our project by ironing. We will try to iron as many pieces as we can in one go. This is a very simple and very nice project. You will see that you will like it very much. We are going to start by ironing all the pieces like so. If your fabric is not as wrinkled, you wouldn't have to do this step. Now we place the pellon in this way. We will glue the pellon without using the steam from the iron. We are going to exert a little pressure with the iron this way. Now we are going to iron the flap, since we are also going to put pellon on the flap. The flap has a sign that tells you where it should be placed, and as you can see, this is the length of the bag. We place the pellon on the notches or signs that we will also be gluing. And we will also be gluing it without steam, only with the heat of the iron. Now we fold it on itself, and we would already have the flap glued. As you can see, they are very easy steps, although a bit laborious, but the result will be definitely worth it. We have the cover of the bag, the lining, and the 2 flaps. Now we are going to continue with the handles. We decided to put pellon in the center of the flap, but you can also use wadding if you wish, but this part is optional. Now we are going to iron what would be the closing of the book together with the pellon. We will put the pellon on only one side of the closure flap, and on the top we will not put anything. We are going to stick the iron-on adhesive to our fabric, also without steam, only using the heat of the iron, and this is how it should look. On this side of the paper, we will write the design that we want and cut it out. After the iron, we go to the machine. Each machine has its own instructions on how to properly prepare it. If you want tutorials about this, let us know and we will gladly provide them on the channel. We will start by preparing the handles by folding them on themselves and start sewing like this. In our case, we are sewing at a 2.5 stitch. At the beginning and at the end, we always finish off making a back stitch. We will do the same process with the other handle. Now we are going to assemble the flap that would be the closing of the bag. Again, we join the piece that has the pellon with the piece of lining, and we will be sewing more slowly in the border to be able to turn it around, and at the end we finish off back stitching. Now we are going to make some small V-shaped notches in the curved part just to be able to flip it better and make it rounder. We turn it this way using the tool that you have on hand that does not include a sharp point. We go over to the seam in this way and we will take it to the iron. To turn the handle, we will do the same as with the flap. You're going to help yourself with the tool that you have on hand. Always helping the handle as we go, we are going to turn it. This is a handmade work that takes a lot of patience and care, but in the end, the result is well worth it. The tips are going to be discarded or cleaned like so. Depending on the design you are going to use, you are going to mark your design with a friction pen or a soluble pencil for fabrics. And you are going to cut out the template. In our case, we are going to give it a little margin and round the corners. Remember that this is a handmade work. You can give it your personal touch. We already have it cut out, and now we go to the iron. We will start by ironing the handles and set them aside to place them later. We will also iron the flap. And now with a pencil for fabrics, in our case, we are going to center the letter T and we lower the paper. As you can see, here we have the glue on this side. With this glue, we are going to accommodate it well. And now we will press the iron without using the steam. We'll be using the heat of the iron until the glue melts. We are going to correct it or relocate it. Now we turn over to the machine. To put the application of our decoration, we chose the design of stitch number 11 of our machine. Since this drawing is very useful for patchwork because it goes over the entire edge. If your machine has decorative stitches, you can choose the one you like the best. We have given it the maximum length. In the round part, since they are very close curves, we will help the machine a little and sew a little more slowly. And we continue sewing the straight part like so, until we finish our letter or design. Again, when we get to the curved parts, we sew a little bit more slowly. Look how beautiful this is turning out. To place the button, in our case, we want a little more security, so we put a little piece of tape to the button in the buttonhole tool so that it does not go out of measure. We put the piece to make the buttonhole. Again, each machine has its own instructions on how to use its tools. In our case, we are going to be using the design stitch of buttonhole number 34, and we are going to place it here on the flap. We measure where you want to start sewing the buttonhole and begin sewing. We already have the buttonhole made. We clean it of the remains of thread and open it. You can also use a tool called ripper, which is also used for a buttonhole opener instead of scissors for this step. But again, use whatever you have on hand. Now we are going to sew the handles. We have the notch for the handles, as you can see. So we are going to be putting it in the center of the handle and we start sewing. We already have the first one fixed, so we go to the back of the bag and we will do the same thing. We put the center of the handle where the notch is, and there we will begin sewing. If you wish, you can help yourself with a pin to place the flap, where it goes on the book cover. We are going to sew it like this. When we reach the corner, we will leave the needle underneath. Turn the fabric and continue sewing. When we reach the end, we finish off with a back stitch, and we will do the same thing on the other side, which would look like this. Now we will face the fabric that we chose for the main part with the lining, and we will introduce the two handles. We are going to face the two right sides, the one from the front and the one from the outside of our bag, and we are going to join them. Again, you can use pins to hold the corners. We pin the corners like this, and at this point, we're going to start sewing where we left off. To flip it over, we're going to leave this space open. We start sewing from the point that we left open. We are going to finish off back stitching, and we will be sewing to the width of the foot. When we reach the corner, we will leave the needle underneath. Turn the bag and continue sewing. We will be doing this all around. We take it to the notch and we finish. Now we have it sewn everywhere. We are going to lower the ends with a scissor so that it is more neat when turning. Now we are going to turn it outright for this signal and space that we had left open, right side out. Now we iron and accentuate the seams. To close it where we turned it from the right, we are going to close it with a hidden seam. We prefer to do it by hand without visible seams. We are going to place the button in this way. You can mark with a fabric pencil where you want to place it and center it that way. This button can also be put with a magnetic closure. In our case, we like this button with a wooden detail since it is a little bit more rustic. It should look like this. We make the bag a little bigger to be able to fit the biggest books that we have. As you can see, here we are showing you different sizes of books. And now, let's see the finished result! Alright, this is the finished result of the book bag. As you saw in the beginning of the video, we already have our book inside and it's ready for me to just carry this book bag with me over to the park or into a little nice outing. It's very versatile and you can use it for a number of different ways. We also really like the background that we chose for the little ornament or the little decoration, and we really like the button that we chose. It's kind of rustic with that wood material. Very versatile. You can add whichever decoration you like. You can add the button that you desire. Again, like I mentioned at the beginning of the video, you can also do it with a magnetic type of button, which is also very convenient because you don't have to try to put the button. You just connect it and it snaps. But again, I liked this more rustic look, and this is going to be in conjunction with another tutorial, which is this book over here. And as you can see, it's very beautiful, and this tutorial will be the next one on the channel. I'm just absolutely in love with it. We will also show you a bonus in this tutorial that is upcoming, which is going to be this bookmark. So you're going to have 2 tutorials in one. You're going to have the little bookmark, and you're going to have the book cover. Again, if you're a reader and you want to get into sewing, then this tutorial that we're starting off the channel with, you're going to really like it. And again, it's just absolutely beautiful. I have my Agatha Christie book here that I've been meaning to read for quite a while. So again, this is another bookmark that we're also going to be showing you. Everything goes in conjunction with everything. And this is a beautiful bookmark, which is a different style than the other one that we showed you. But again, all of this will be in the upcoming tutorial, so don't miss out. Make sure that you subscribe to the channel, that you click the notification bell, or you can just join our newsletter. That way you can, in case YouTube misses out on notifying you when we upload a video, you'll get notified through there. And again, our goal in this channel is to help you learn how to sew, but not only help you learn how to sew, we want to make the process fun and enjoyable. So feel free to subscribe and join our little corner of the internet. And alright, that was all for today's video. We hope that you enjoyed. Alright, that was all for today's video. We'll see you in our next sewing video. Bye!